Chickens actually only have one hole. I don't really know how else to say that. So chicken anatomy is a little bit interesting. When they poop, it all comes out of one place. When they lay an egg, it comes out of the same place. So needless to say, they need a little bit more than just a shell to protect that egg. So eggs have a lot of pores. They have to. Because if a chick were to develop inside, it would need to exchange gases with the world around it. Because there's going to be a little bit of residual contamination from that feces that's going to come out, the egg needs to be protected. It needs to have a layer of microbial protection to keep bacteria from coming inside those pores and contaminating the egg inside. So how does the chicken do this? As the egg is laid, something called a bloom or a cuticle is deposited on the outside of that shell. Now, to us, when we have that egg in our hand, it's going to be clear. You can't see it. But sometimes you know how you go out and you get that fresh egg from your chickens and sometimes it looks wet or it's a little bit sticky? That's actually the bloom drying. As it's coming out of the chicken, she's going to deposit a foamy protein layer on the outside. Now, this protein layer is actually going to seal all of those pores for up to about 2 weeks. That bloom is also going to repel water. It's going to keep water from entering the shell. If the bloom was absent or in some cases inadequate, bacteria would actually be able to enter the egg through those mini pores and contaminate the egg inside. Now, this would either damage the embryo and cause it to not develop, cause it to actually die, but in the case of eating eggs, it would make the egg to where we can no longer eat it. We would need to throw the egg away. After about 1 to 2 weeks, it's going to start to break down. Reason being that if a chick were to be developing inside of the egg, around that time it would need to start exchanging those gases with the environment outside of the shell. It would need to give off its carbon dioxide waste. It would need to bring in oxygen to help that developing embryo survive. So what is the bloom made out of? It's going to be about 85 to 90% insoluble proteins, meaning they can't be dissolved in water, which is really important. That's why it actually repels water. It's also going to be about 4 to 5% carbohydrate, 2 to 3% lipid, as well as about 3% of what we would consider ash. So chickens defecate and lay eggs out of the same place. It's called a cloaca. It's one orifice where poop comes out as well as an egg comes out. Of course, there's a flap that's going to kind of separate the two, but at the end of the day, there's going to be some residual contamination from that feces. Because eggshells have a lot of pores, the egg needs to be protected from that feces, that residual feces getting in, as well as bacteria or water. So that gets us to a question that a lot of people ask. Do we need to wash our fresh eggs? The answer to that question is actually no. So when you get a fresh egg from under your chickens, if it's dirty, you can wash it. But if you do wash that egg with water, you're actually going to be removing that bloom, in which case you're going to need to refrigerate that egg. That's why when we buy eggs from the store, we have to keep those eggs refrigerated. Washing actually removes that protective bloom and makes the egg susceptible to bacteria. So when we get those fresh eggs from under our chickens, we can wipe it off with a dry cloth. If there's a little bit of litter, something stuck to that bloom, with the dry cloth, put it in a basket or a carton, something, leave it on the counter, keep it at room temperature. It can stay like that for up to 2 weeks. And then when we're ready to use that egg, I'll take it to the sink, put dish detergent on it, and then wash it like I would anything else. And then I'm going to crack it and use it. If there's obviously poop on it, you don't want to just use that like that. I know we're not going to eat the shell, but at the same time, a lot of contamination can happen as we crack that. We just want to make sure that that's clean at that point. But at least for storage purposes, we don't need to wash our eggs. It's actually better if we don't. Once again, this is Anna from the Hen Twins. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. If you have anything, any videos you'd like to see something about, leave a comment. Let us know. We'd love to do it.